At an elite school, a wealthy young black girl chooses to fly under the radar, refusing to flaunt her wealth, making her an easy target for the school's bullies. Assuming she's poor, they relentlessly taunt and ridicule her. She bears it all until one fateful day when they walk into a local pizza joint where she works. Unaware of who owns the place, they continue their cruelty until the truth is revealed, and suddenly their entire world shifts in a way they never saw coming. Before we dive into the story, drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. Trust me, you won't want to miss how this one plays out. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the pristine front lawns and towering gates of Westwood Academy, one of the most prestigious private schools in the country. The kind of place where last names mattered more than firsts, where wealth wasn't just expected, it was required. The parking lot was lined with sleek black Range Rovers, gleaming white Mercedes, and the occasional cherry red Ferrari, each one a statement of affluence. But as the students strolled in designer backpacks slung lazily over their shoulders, AirPods in, sipping oat milk lattes, something stood out. Or rather, someone. Lena Brown rode in on a matte black bicycle, her long braids bouncing slightly as she maneuvered effortlessly through the rows of luxury vehicles. She wasn't flashy, didn't need to be. While her classmates flaunted their privilege, she preferred to let her mind and ambition do the talking. Her crisp white button-up, neatly tucked into tailored navy slacks, was a far cry from the logo-plastered ensembles of her peers. No Gucci belts, no Cartier bangles, just understated elegance. She hopped off, locked her bike, and strode toward the entrance, exuding the quiet confidence of someone who knew exactly who she was. From across the lot, Chloe Anderson stood with her usual entourage, three other mean girls draped in the season's latest culture. Their glossy lips curled into identical smirks. Chloe, blonde, striking, and impossibly smug, tilted her sunglasses down just enough to narrow her piercing blue eyes at Lena. "Would you look at that?" she mused, voice dripping with faux sympathy. The scholarship kid actually showed up. The girls giggled. One of them, a brunette named Emma, gasped dramatically. "Oh my God, is that a bicycle?" "What? Uber too expensive." Chloe pressed a manicured hand to her chest in mock concern. "No, no, be nice. Maybe she's just, you know, not used to how things work around here." Her eyes flickered with something cruel. Or maybe she spent all her money on that weave and couldn't afford a ride. The laughter escalated. It was effortless, automatic, the way privilege allowed them to mock without consequence. Lena heard every word, felt the sting of it, but she didn't flinch. Instead, she met Chloe's gaze, unshaken. A slow, knowing smirk tugged at the corner of her lips. "You know," she said, voice smooth as silk, "it's funny how the people who scream old money the loudest usually aren't even on the family trust." Chloe's expression twisted. The other girls gasped. A flicker of panic flashed in her eyes before she masked it with a scoff. "Whatever," she spat, rolling her eyes. "Like I care what some poor girl thinks." But there was something unsettled in the way she turned sharply on her heel, something brittle behind the way she strutted toward the entrance. And Lena knew without a doubt that the game had begun. As the weeks passed at Westwood Academy, the whispers followed Lena like a shadow. They curled around corners, slithered into locker rooms, and bled through the cafeteria noise. Scholarship kid, gold digger, affirmative action pick. None of it was new, but the venom behind it, the way Chloe wielded it like a weapon, made it impossible to ignore. Every eye roll, every whispered snicker, every calculated brush of shoulders in the hallway was a war waged in silence, and Lena refused to let it break her. But Chloe wasn't satisfied with whispers. She wanted spectacle. It happened on a crisp autumn afternoon, just as Lena was unlocking her bike. A sharp clang echoed through the courtyard, followed by a chorus of laughter. Lena turned slowly. Chloe stood a few feet away, arms crossed, smirking, while Emma and the others doubled over in delight. "Oh no," Chloe crooned, eyes gleaming. "Did someone vandalize your ride? That's so tragic. Maybe you should report it. I'm sure the janitor," she emphasized the word like it was a slur, "can buff out the scratches." Lena's gaze flicked to her bike. Deep gouges ran along the frame, jagged and deliberate. Rage flared hot in her chest, but she swallowed it, steadying her breath. She knew exactly what Chloe wanted: a reaction, a meltdown, proof that she was less than. Instead, she tilted her head, appraising Chloe with an eerie calm. "You're really threatened by me, huh?" Chloe's smirk faltered for half a second. "Excuse me?" "It's cute," Lena continued, voice light, but her eyes were razor sharp. "You're so desperate to convince yourself you're better than me, but deep down you know the truth. That's why you have to try this hard." The laughter died. Emma's face twisted with discomfort. Even the other girls shifted awkwardly. But Chloe, she stiffened, nostrils flaring, fingers curling into fists. Then just as quickly she exhaled, a slow, wicked smile creeping onto her lips. "You know what?" she said, tilting her head. "You're right. This isn't enough." She leaned in, lowering her voice to a whisper meant just for Lena. "But don't worry, I'll fix that." And just like that, she walked away, flipping her hair, already planning her next move. The attack came swiftly, calculated and cruel, just as Lena had expected. By Monday morning, the rumors had evolved into something uglier. The whispers weren't just about her being a scholarship kid anymore. They had a new, sharper edge, one laced with something personal. Lena's not even smart. She got in because her parents bribed the school. She flirts with rich guys to get ahead. I heard she's working at some cheap pizza place after school. Guess the trust fund ran dry. It was textbook Chloe's strike where it hurts. Make sure it sticks. Lena kept her head high as she walked into the main hall, but she felt the weight of every glance, the way conversations dipped into hushed tones when she passed. She caught a sneer from Emma near the lockers, the way another girl whispered into her friend's ear before both of them laughed. Chloe stood near the entrance, arms folded, the picture of effortless cruelty, watching her work unfold. "She looks exhausted," Chloe murmured just loud enough for her audience to hear. Maybe she finally realized she doesn't belong here. For the first time, Lena's composure wavered. Not because of the words she had armor thick enough for that, but because this wasn't just schoolyard petness anymore. Chloe wasn't just trying to make her uncomfortable. She was trying to erase her. That night, Lena sat in her office at the back of her restaurant, scrolling through the online student forum. Her name was everywhere. Twisted, distorted, turned into something unrecognizable. The anger simmered, but she breathed through it. Chloe wanted her to react, to lash out, to crumble. Instead, Lena leaned back in her chair, fingers steepled, eyes dark with determination. Fine. If Chloe wanted a fight, she was about to learn exactly who she was messing with. Friday afternoon, Westwood Academy emptied out in its usual fashion black SUVs, pulling up in synchronized precision, chauffeurs holding open doors, while students strutted out like they were stepping onto a runway. Chloe, as always, was at the center of it, her laughter cutting through the crisp autumn air, her entourage orbiting around her like she was some celestial force. But today there was an extra layer of satisfaction to her smirk, an anticipation curling at the edges of her lips. She turned to her friends, flipping her perfectly curled blonde hair over one shoulder. "You guys have to come with me today," she said, voice dripping with amusement. "There's something I need to show you." Emma, ever the devoted follower, perked up. "Oh my God, what?" Chloe's smirk widened. "Let's just say we're about to see what happens when a charity case tries to play in our world." They piled into Chloe's car, the scent of expensive leather and Chanel perfume thick in the air as they sped toward the city, the destination, one of the most popular pizza spots in town, Empire Pizza, known for its gourmet slices and late-night rush. But Chloe wasn't there for the food. No, she was there for the performance. The moment they stepped inside, the atmosphere shifted. Customers chattered over the hum of the ovens, the scent of melted cheese and fresh basil filling the air. But Chloe's attention wasn't on the ambience. It was on the girl behind the counter. There was Lena standing tall, dressed in a black apron over a fitted white shirt, sleeves rolled up as she effortlessly handled a fresh pizza peel, sliding a steaming pie into the massive brick oven. She moved with purpose, with authority, completely at ease in her element. Chloe let out a mock gasp, clutching her chest in exaggerated shock. "No way," she drawled, loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. "Is that Lena Brown? Working? At my restaurant?" Heads turned. Conversations dipped into murmurs. Emma giggled, nudging Chloe's arm. I thought she was like old money. Chloe leaned against the counter, her manicured nails tapping idly against the wood. Guess the trust fund didn't stretch far enough, she mused, her voice syrupy sweet. Then to Lena, with a grin sharp enough to cut, she added, Do you take tips, sweetheart? Or should I just leave some cash on the floor for you to pick up? The girls erupted into laughter. A few customers shot them disapproving glances, but no one spoke up. They never did. For a moment, Lena said nothing. She simply wiped her hands on a dish towel, took a slow, measured breath, and stepped toward Chloe. When she finally spoke, her voice was steady, even amused. You really think this is an insult, don't you? Lena tilted her head, studying Chloe like she was some curious little thing. That working is beneath me. That because I'd built something instead of inheriting it, I should be ashamed. She let out a small laugh, shaking her head. That's adorable. Chloe's smirk flickered, just for a second. But Lena wasn't finished. Tell me, Chloe, she continued, stepping closer, voice dropping just enough to make the air feel heavier. What exactly do you do? Besides spending your daddy's money and pretending to be something you're not? The room went silent. Chloe's jaw clenched so tight it looked painful. She could feel the stares now, feel the way the attention had shifted. She hated that feeling, hated that Lena, with nothing but words, had flipped the entire situation back onto her. But she refused to back down. So she did what she always did when she felt cornered. She escalated. Chloe's lips curled into a cruel smile. You know what? She purred. I own this place. My mom owns this place. And I don't think I like the way you're talking to me. In fact, she turned sharply, lifting her chin. Mom? A murmur rippled through the staff. A few employees exchanged nervous glances. One of the waiters hesitated, but before he could react, the familiar sound of heels clicking against the tile filled the air. Chloe's mother emerged from the back office, her expression sharp with irritation. Chloe, she sighed, already exhausted. What now? Chloe's face twisted into a mask of righteous indignation. She gestured dramatically toward Lena. Mom, this girl was completely disrespectful to me. In our restaurant. I don't want her here. Her mother frowned, eyes flicking from Chloe to Lena. She opened her mouth to say something, but before she could, Chloe pressed on, voice rising. I own this place, right? So fire her right now. Silence. Then slowly, her mother's lips pressed into a thin line. And in that moment, Chloe knew something was wrong. Chloe stood tall, arms crossed, eyes gleaming with victory as she turned to her mother. Mom, I own this place, right? So fire her, right now. Her voice rang out sharp, entitled, slicing through the hushed tension in the momentary stiffness in her shoulders. But Lena caught it, the way her mother's lips parted, then pressed together again, the way she stole a glance at the employees, as if measuring their reactions. Chloe, impatient, rolled her eyes. Mom, she huffed, as if scolding a child. Hello? Are you listening? I want her gone. Her mother cleared her throat. Chloe, this isn't the time. Chloe scoffed. Not the time. She let out a sharp, humorless laugh, looking around at her audience. Are you serious? You always tell me this place belongs to us? That it's ours. Another pause. Another flicker of hesitation. And then her mother forced a small, uneasy smile. Sweetie, let's not make a scene. Lena tilted her head, arms folded, watching the woman squirm, the fear in her voice, the way her fingers nervously twisted the hem of her sleeve. Something about it reeked of evasion. Chloe, Lena said, her voice smooth but edged with steel. Tell me something. Do you actually own this place? Or is that just something your mommy lets you believe? Chloe's jaw clenched. Of course I do, she snapped, the frustration bleeding into her tone. She turned sharply back to her mother. Tell her right now. All eyes were on her mother now. She swallowed, her throat bobbing, eyes darting toward Lena, then the employees, then back to her daughter. Chloe, she started, voice lower now, softer, like she was trying to contain something. Maybe we should just... Lena took a step closer. Tell her what exactly, she challenged. Chloe's mother stiffened. You manage it, don't you? Lena pressed, voice calm, steady. You don't own it. You work for me. The air in the restaurant felt heavy, like a rubber band stretched to its limit, seconds from snapping. Chloe's mother flinched. That's not exactly. Oh, so we're playing games now, Lena cut in, tone still dangerously even. Fine. She turned, eyes scanning the restaurant before landing on one of the cashiers, a young girl, no older than 19, standing near the register, eyes wide, clearly aware of what was unfolding, but too afraid to speak. Lena gestured to her. You. The girl jumped slightly. Who pays your checks? The cashier hesitated, then glanced nervously at Chloe's mother before answering. Ah, the corporate office. The Browns. Chloe's stomach plummeted. Lena hummed as if that was interesting, then looked toward the kitchen. Luke, she called out. A man in his mid-30s wearing a grease-stained apron peeked his head out from behind the oven. Yes, boss. Chloe froze. That one word, boss. It rang in her ears, sent a cold, sickening wave crashing over her. But Lena wasn't done. She turned back to Chloe's mother, who was now visibly flustered, wringing her hands, eyes darting everywhere except at her daughter. So, Lena said, slowly, deliberately, do you want to correct what you just let your daughter believe? Or should I keep asking your employees until we get the full story? The woman opened her mouth, then shut it again, shoulders curling inward slightly like a child caught in a lie. Finally, in a barely audible murmur, she admitted, I manage the restaurant. The Browns own it. Silence. Chloe's hands curled into fists, her nails biting into her palms. No, she whispered, shaking her head, her pulse hammering in her ears. No, you told me. I never said we owned it, her mother said quickly, almost pleading, like she was desperate to hold on to whatever sliver of control she had left. I'm Chloe, I didn't correct you. Chloe's breathing was ragged now, her entire face burning. She could feel the eyes on her, feel the weight of every snicker, every glance exchanged between employees and customers alike. And then Lena delivered the final blow. You know what? She said, turning to the employees, her voice suddenly light, casual, as if she had just remembered something. I think I recall some complaints about mistreatment, about certain people. Her eyes flicked to Chloe's mother abusing their position, covering for their daughters. And oh, what was it? She snapped her fingers. Oh, right, quitting out on bills. The room tensed. Luke cleared his throat from the kitchen. Yeah, he muttered. That's happened a few times. One of the waitresses spoke up, voice hesitant but firm. She'd bring her daughter in and act like she owned the place. Sometimes they'd rack up a huge bill and just leave. Chloe's mother paled. I can pay it back, she stammered quickly. That's not. Oh, you will, Lena, cut in, that dangerous calm still in her voice. After you clear out your desk, because you're fired. Chloe's mother sucked in a sharp breath, her lips parting in shock. Lena, please, Now! And just like that, it was over. Chloe's breath hitched, chest tightening as she stared at her mother, waiting for her to fight back. To say something, anything to undo the humiliation unraveling around her. But the woman only stood there, stiff, defeated, eyes darting helplessly between Lena and the employees who had just exposed her. The weight of reality settled on her slumped shoulders, and for the first time in Chloe's life, she saw her mother small, not the sharp, poised woman who had always convinced her that they were untouchable, just small. A slow, suffocating panic clawed up Chloe's throat. She could feel the stares, hear the barely contained snickers from the staff, the quiet murmurs from customers, pretending not to watch, but hanging on to every second of her downfall. Her face burned, her pulse roaring in her ears. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She was supposed to walk in here, humiliate Lena, make a scene so spectacular that no one would ever take her seriously again. But now it was her, standing in the center of the wreckage. No, she choked out, shaking her head as if sheer denial could rewrite the moment. This isn't it. This isn't fair. Her voice cracked, frantic, desperate. She turned sharply to her mother. Say something. You told me this place was ours. You! Her mother flinched at the venom in her daughter's voice, but didn't answer. That silence shattered something inside Chloe. Her throat tightened, her vision blurring at the edges. She spun back to Lena, breathing hard, searching for some way to regain control, some way to claw her way out of this pit of humiliation. "You think you're better than me, don't you?" she spat, voice shrill, wild. "Just because your family owns some stupid pizza place." Lena raised a brow, unbothered, arms crossed in an almost bored stance. "No," she said smoothly. "I think I'm better than you because I don't have to lie about who I am." Laughter rippled through the restaurant, not loud, not exaggerated, but enough to make Chloe's hands tremble, to send her stomach plummeting. She clenched her jaw, tears stinging her eyes, humiliation curling like fire in her gut. She couldn't take this. Without another word, she turned sharply on her heel, shoving past Emma and the others, her breaths coming in short, panic bursts. She needed to leave. Now her legs moved on autopilot, her vision tunneling, the exit suddenly feeling miles away. "Chloe. Con." Her mother's voice stopped her cold. She turned furious, expecting some kind of defense, some last-minute fix to undo the disaster of the past few minutes. But instead her mother just looked, tired, not angry, not ashamed, just exhausted in a way that made Chloe's stomach twist into knots. "Go home," she said quietly, firmly. For a second, Chloe swore her heart stopped. Her lips parted, words dying before they could form. Go home, like a child being sent away, like she was nothing. The restaurant blurred, the laughter, the whispers, the pitiful glances. She felt her chest tighten, felt the hot, stinging pressure behind her eyes, and before she could let herself break in front of these people, she ran. She didn't stop. Not when she shoved the door open so hard the bell clanged violently against the glass. Not when she tripped over the curb, barely catching herself. Not when she reached the car, Emma calling her name somewhere behind her, voice thin, uncertain. She threw the door open, slammed it shut, hands gripping the wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. And then, in the suffocating silence of the car, the weight of everything crashed down all at once. Tears spilled over, hot and humiliating, as she let out a strangled, gasping sob. Chloe walked in, ready to tear Lena down. But in the end, she walked out completely destroyed. What's your take on this twist? Was it a total win for Lena? Or does Chloe have a chance at redemption? Drop a comment below and let us know where you're tuning in from. Trust me, this isn't just about money. It's about knowing who you really are. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss what happens next.